The desert wind howls over the Egyptian sands, carrying whispers of a secret buried for 1,600 years. In 1945, a farmer digging near Nag Hammadi struck clay, not treasure, but something far stranger, a sealed jar containing 13 ancient books. Among them, a crumbling codex bore a title that would send shockwaves through biblical scholarship, the Gospel of Thomas. Its opening lines taunted historians with a riddle. These are the secret words which the living Jesus spoke, and which the twin Judas Thomas wrote down. Who was this twin? The question haunts every line. In the canonical Gospels, Thomas is a footnote, the doubting disciple who demanded proof of resurrection. But here, he emerges as Jesus' shadow, a confidant entrusted with teachings too radical for the masses. The name Thomas itself holds the first clue, Aramaic for twin, tauma, mirrored in Greek as Didymus. Early Christians debated its meaning. Was he Jesus' blood brother, a spiritual mirror, or a symbol of humanity's latent divinity? In a dimly lit scriptorium, a scribe copies a forbidden text. The year is 180 CE. Across the Roman Empire, bishops condemn heretics who claim secret knowledge, gnosis, of Christ. Among them, a sect venerates Thomas, not as a skeptic, but as the one who understood. The Gospel of Thomas offers no nativity, no crucifixion, no resurrection. Instead, 114 cryptic sayings. Split a piece of wood. I am there. Lift the stone, and you will find me. This Jesus is no savior on a cross, but a teacher of hidden truths. Sayings like, the kingdom is inside you, and when you make the two into one, you will enter the kingdom, suggest a radical idea. The divine spark resides within all. Thomas, the twin, becomes the archetypal seeker, the bridge between Jesus' celestial wisdom and human awakening. A brother, a mirror, a rival. A mosaic shatters, shards scatter. In Syria, 3rd century Christians revere Thomas as Jesus' identical twin, a claim etched in the Acts of Thomas. Here, Thomas travels to India, performing miracles while Jesus guides him from afar. The text twists orthodox theology. If Thomas is Jesus' earthly double, does that make Christ's human form an illusion? Gnostic circles whispered darker theories. Some saw Thomas as the living Jesus counterpart, a flesh and blood anchor to a world the Gnostics reviled as a prison. Whoever drinks from my mouth will become as I am, Jesus tells Thomas in the book of Thomas the Contender, blurring the line between teacher and disciple. To become Jesus was to awaken the divine twin within, a concept so threatening that 4th century bishops ordered Thomas's Gospels burned. Flames consume parchment. Smoke curls over Alexandria as Bishop Athanasius decrees a single sanctioned canon in 367 CE. The Gospel of Thomas vanishes, but not before scribes in Upper Egypt bury it in the desert, wrapped in protective spells. For 16 centuries, its secrets lay dormant until Nag Hammadi resurrected a question orthodoxy had tried to erase. What if Christianity's greatest mystery wasn't the resurrection, but the twin? Scholars pore over the Coptic text. Sayings overlap with Matthew and Luke, yet others defy tradition. Blessed is the lion that the human will eat, and the lion will become human. Parallels to Greek philosophy and Hindu mysticism emerge. Could Thomas represent a lost thread of early Christianity, one that saw Jesus not as a singular Messiah, but as a guide to self-deification? The stakes are tectonic. If Thomas was Jesus' twin in flesh or spirit, it challenges the foundational narrative of a unique, divine Savior. Worse for the early church, it democratizes salvation. You and Jesus are identical twins, implies the gospel. The kingdom isn't earned through faith alone, but through self-knowledge, a heresy that threatened ecclesiastical authority. As the chapter closes, the camera lingers on a faded Coptic line. Jesus said, "I am not your teacher, for you have drunk from the bubbling spring I tended." the implication lingers. The twin is not a person, but a promise. To find Thomas is to find the self, a revelation that would echo through centuries, buried yet alive, waiting to be unearthed. But if Thomas was the key to hidden wisdom, why did his gospel terrify the early church? And what price did the Gnostics pay for guarding this secret? The answers lie in ash, blood, and the fragile pages of a nearly lost world. The world of the early Christians was a cauldron of competing truths. In the smoky candlelight of hidden gatherings, Gnostic teachers whispered of a cosmos far stranger than anything preached from the pulpits of Rome or Jerusalem. To the Gnostics, the material world was not a gift, but a trap, a dim reflection of a higher, hidden reality. And at the heart of their secret teachings, the figure of Thomas, the twin, shimmered as both guide and enigma. Imagine a universe where the God of Genesis is not the ultimate creator, but a lesser architect, an ignorant craftsman called the demiurge. Above him, beyond all knowing, dwells the true, ineffable source, the realm of pure spirit, light, and unity. The Gnostics taught that each human soul carries a spark of this divine realm, but that spark is trapped in flesh, veiled by ignorance, and lulled to sleep by the illusions of the world. In this vision, Jesus is not merely a savior who dies for sins, but a revealer, a bringer of gnosis, secret knowledge that awakens the soul. The Gnostic Christ does not demand blind faith. He invites seekers to know themselves, to discover the divine twin hidden within. Thomas, the one called the twin, becomes the perfect vessel for this message, not just a follower, but a mirror, a reflection of the Christ within every human being. Yet Thomas's role is always ambiguous. In the Gospel of John, he is the doubter, the one who demands to see and touch the wounds. But in the Gnostic texts, he is the confidant, the one to whom Jesus whispers the mysteries that others cannot bear. This duality is no accident. For the Gnostics, the journey to knowledge is always a journey through doubt, through questioning, through the refusal to accept easy answers. The Gospel of Thomas does not tell a story, it offers riddles. If you bring forth what is within you, what you have will save you, Jesus tells Thomas. If you do not have that within you, what you do not have within you will kill you. Salvation in this gospel is not a gift from above, but a discovery from within, a radical, almost dangerous idea in a world where authority was everything. The inner conflict is palpable. To follow Thomas is to walk a razor's edge, to seek the hidden truth without falling into pride or despair, to question without losing faith, to embrace the divine within without denying the suffering of the world. The Gnostic journey is not for the faint of heart. It demands courage, honesty, and a willingness to risk everything for the possibility of awakening. Central to the Gnostic message is the idea of unity, the healing of the split between flesh and spirit, male and female, inner and outer. In the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus says, "When you make the two one, and when you make the inside like the outside, and the outside like the inside, then you will enter the kingdom." This is not a call for conformity, but for transformation, the alchemy of opposites, the birth of a new, undivided self. For the Gnostics, the twin is more than a person. It is a symbol of this unity. Thomas is the other self of Jesus, just as each of us carries an other self, the divine image, forgotten but not lost. The journey is to remember, to reunite, to become whole. In secret rituals, Gnostic initiates would reenact this union, seeking to experience the bridal chamber where the soul and the spirit become one. But such teachings could not help but provoke the guardians of orthodoxy. If salvation is found within, what need for priests, for sacraments, for the authority of the Church? If every soul is a twin of Christ, what becomes of the unique, unrepeatable Savior? The Gnostic path threatened to unravel the very fabric of early Christian society. The bishops responded with fury. Gnostic texts were banned, their followers branded as heretics, their communities scattered. Yet the Gnostics persisted, convinced that the truth could not be silenced forever. They hid their books, encoded their teachings, and passed on their wisdom in whispers and symbols. The story of Thomas and the Gnostics is not just an ancient drama, it is a mirror for every seeker. The longing to know, the fear of error, the hope of unity, and the pain of exile, these are the inner conflicts that define the spiritual journey. In the figure of Thomas, we see ourselves, doubters and dreamers, insiders and outsiders, forever searching for the twin within. But the story does not end here. The deeper we follow the thread of the twin, the stranger the tapestry becomes. What if Thomas was not only the confidant, but the key to a secret lineage, one that stretches from Jerusalem to India, from the deserts of Egypt to the farthest reaches of the soul? The next chapter unveils the twists, the hidden connections, and the shocking revelations that have kept this mystery alive for centuries. The journey of the twin is a path marked by riddles and revelations. As the sands of time shift, new fragments of old truths emerge, each one a glimmer of the deeper mystery. The story of Thomas, the twin, is not confined to the pages of a single gospel or the boundaries of one tradition. Instead, it unfolds across continents and centuries, weaving together threads that many never imagined were connected. The Gospel of Thomas stands apart from the familiar stories of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It is not a tale of miracles and martyrdom, but a collection of sayings, enigmatic, poetic, and often unsettling. Some echo the words of Jesus found in the New Testament, but others shimmer with a strange new light. "If you do not fast from the world, you will not find the kingdom," one saying warns. Another challenges, if the flesh came into being because of spirit, it is a wonder. But if spirit came into being because of the body, it is a wonder of wonders. In these lines, the boundaries between body and spirit blur. The Gnostic Jesus is not a distant king, but a voice urging us to look inward, to find the kingdom not in heaven, but within ourselves. The sayings pulse with paradox, inviting the listener to abandon easy answers and embrace the unknown. But why a twin? What does it mean to be the twin of Jesus? The question has haunted theologians and mystics for centuries. Some early Christians took the title literally, imagining Thomas as Jesus' biological brother, perhaps even his identical twin. In the Acts of Thomas, the apostle is mistaken for Jesus so often that he becomes a living reflection, a walking paradox, both himself and not himself. Yet for the Gnostics, the twin is more than flesh and blood. Thomas represents the other self, the hidden divine image within every person. To discover the twin is to awaken to the truth that we are all, in some mysterious way, kin to the Christ. It is a call to remember who we truly are, beneath the masks of fear, doubt, and forgetfulness. The story takes a dramatic turn as Thomas's legend travels east. According to the Acts of Thomas, the apostle is sent by divine command to India, where he performs miracles, baptizes converts, and ultimately meets a martyr's death. For centuries, the Christians of Kerala have claimed descent from Thomas, their faith a living testament to this ancient journey. But the Indian connection is more than a historical curiosity. In the teachings of the Indian sages, Gnostic scholars find echoes of the same wisdom, the spark of the divine within, the illusion of the material world, the quest for union with the ultimate source. Was there a secret dialogue between East and West, a hidden current of knowledge flowing beneath the surface of history? The possibility lingers, tantalizing and unresolved. The Gospel of Thomas is filled with images that defy logic and demand contemplation. Blessed is the lion that the human will eat, so that the lion becomes human. And cursed is the human whom the lion will eat, and the lion will become human. What can this mean? For the Gnostics, such sayings are not puzzles to be solved, but doors to be opened. The lion may be the passions, the fears, the wild forces within us. To eat the lion is to tame and transform these energies, to become fully human and, in the Gnostic vision, fully divine. Among the most mysterious of Gnostic teachings is the ritual of the bridal chamber. In this sacred space, initiates sought to experience the union of opposites, male and female, body and spirit, human and divine. The twin motif returns here not as a doctrine but as an experience, the meeting of the self with its hidden counterpart, the marriage of soul and spirit. In the mystical writings of Judaism and Islam, in the poetry of Rumi, in the teachings of the Eastern sages, the theme recurs. The divine is not elsewhere, but within. The twin is the hidden self, the spark of the infinite reflected in the mirror of the soul. The story of Thomas and the twin is not a relic of the past. It is a living mystery, a question that refuses to be silenced. Who are we, really? What if the true secret of Jesus is not a doctrine to be believed, but a journey to be undertaken, a journey inward to the heart of the twin? Yet if such knowledge offers freedom, it also brings danger. The search for the hidden twin was never a harmless curiosity. It was a journey fraught with peril, a dance on the edge between revelation and heresy. As the Gnostic message spread, so too did the shadow of opposition. The guardians of orthodoxy, sensing a threat to the very heart of their authority, moved swiftly and decisively. The story of Thomas and the twin now became a story of survival, of secrets buried, texts burned, and wisdom driven underground. In the early centuries of Christianity, the movement was anything but unified. Communities across the Mediterranean debated fiercely. Who was Jesus? What did he truly teach? What did salvation mean? For the bishops and emerging church hierarchy, unity was survival. The Roman Empire, with all its might, demanded order. Any teaching that challenged the authority of the Church was seen as a threat, not just to doctrine, but to the fragile peace of a world on the brink. The Gnostic message, with its radical emphasis on inner knowledge and the divine spark within, was a direct challenge to the emerging orthodoxy. If the kingdom was within, who needed priests or rituals? If every soul was a twin of Christ, what need for a single, unique Savior? The Gnostic path was a path of personal transformation, not submission to external authority. For the bishops, this was intolerable. The response was swift and ruthless. Councils were convened, creeds were written, and the boundaries of true belief were drawn ever tighter. The Gospel of Thomas, the Acts of Thomas, and other Gnostic writings were denounced as heresy. Possession of these texts became a crime punishable by excommunication, or worse. In Alexandria, in Rome, in Antioch, the flames rose. Scribes and monks, once the keepers of all wisdom, were now ordered to destroy the blasphemous scrolls. Libraries were purged. Only a handful of brave souls dared to hide the forbidden books, burying them in jars, tucking them into walls, or fleeing with them into the desert. The sands of Egypt became a silent witness to the war on wisdom. But secrets have a way of surviving. In the remote monasteries of Syria and the hidden communities of Egypt, the teachings of Thomas and the Gnostics lived on. In whispered conversations, in cryptic hymns, in the silent rituals of the bridal chamber, the twin was remembered. The spark could not be extinguished, the hidden knowledge could not be erased. The Acts of Thomas, with its tales of miracles in India, continued to inspire generations. In Kerala, the St. Thomas Christians kept alive the memory of the apostle who brought them the gospel, and perhaps the secret of the twin. Across the centuries, echoes of the Gnostic message surfaced in unlikely places, in the mystical writings of medieval Europe, in the poetry of Sufis, in the teachings of alchemists and visionaries. Then, in the mid-20th century, the world changed. In a cave near Nag Hammadi, a farmer's accidental discovery of ancient codices brought the lost Gospels back into the light. Suddenly, the voice of Thomas the twin was heard again. Scholars and seekers alike pored over the cryptic sayings, marveling at their beauty, their strangeness, and their power. The old conflicts flared anew. Some hailed the Gnostic texts as a long-suppressed fifth gospel, a missing piece of the Christian puzzle. Others warned of the dangers of heresy, of the chaos that might follow if every soul claimed the right to inner knowledge. The tension between suppression and survival, between authority and awakening, was alive once more. The story of the hidden twin is not just a tale of ancient secrets. It is a living challenge, a question that each generation must answer for itself. Will we seek the kingdom within or cling to the certainties of tradition? Will we dare to ask the forbidden questions, to look into the mirror and see the twin staring back? Or will we turn away, content with the safety of borrowed answers? The Gnostic message is both a comfort and a provocation. It promises that the spark of the divine is within each of us, that we are all, in some mysterious way, kin to Christ. But it also demands that we take responsibility for our own awakening, that we risk the journey into the unknown. As the chapter draws to a close, the sands of Nag Hammadi whisper their secret. The twin has survived. The wisdom that was nearly lost has returned, not as a relic of the past, but as a living invitation. The question remains, will we dare to seek the hidden twin within ourselves? Will we have the courage to awaken? Yet even as the mystery endures, its meaning deepens. The story of Jesus and the hidden twin is not just about ancient texts or lost traditions. It is about the human soul, the longing for unity, and the promise of transformation. In the final chapter, we confront the ultimate revelation and the question that echoes through the ages. The hidden twin, once a whisper in the shadows, now stands at the threshold of our understanding. The sands of Nag Hammadi have yielded their secrets, and the voice of Thomas, the twin, resounds once more. Yet, as the dust settles, the true meaning of this mystery only deepens. The journey does not end with the recovery of ancient texts or the exposure of long-suppressed teachings. Instead, it turns inward, inviting each of us to confront the question that has haunted seekers for centuries. Who is the twin, and what does it mean to awaken? The final sayings of the Gospel of Thomas shimmer with paradox and promise. The kingdom is inside you, and it is outside you, Jesus tells his disciples. The Gnostic revelation is not a doctrine to be memorized, but an experience to be lived. The twin, once imagined as a literal sibling or a secret companion, now reveals itself as the hidden self, the divine spark within every human soul. This is the heart of the Gnostic path. Salvation is not bestowed from above, but discovered within. The journey is not toward a distant heaven, but toward the realization of unity, the healing of the split between body and spirit, matter and mind, self and other. The bridal chamber is not merely a ritual, but a symbol of the union of opposites, the moment when the seeker becomes whole. In the Gnostic imagination, Thomas is not just Jesus' confidant, he is his reflection, his mirror, his other self. The twin is the part of us that remembers, that yearns for the lost home beyond the stars. To recognize the twin is to see the Christ within, to realize that the story of Jesus is not only about a man who lived and died 2,000 years ago, but about the divine potential hidden in every human life. This is the scandal and the glory of the Gnostic gospel, that we are all, in some mysterious way, twins of Christ. The journey of Thomas is our journey, the path from ignorance to knowledge, from division to unity, from exile to homecoming. But the path is not easy. The world is full of distractions, illusions, and voices that urge us to look elsewhere for meaning. The guardians of tradition still warn against the dangers of inner knowledge, the chaos that might ensue if every soul claimed the right to awaken. Yet the Gnostic challenge remains. Will you seek the kingdom within? Will you dare to look into the mirror and see the twin? The rediscovery of the Gnostic Gospels has not ended the debate, it has only intensified it. Scholars argue, churches respond, and seekers continue to search. The story of the hidden twin is not a closed book, but an open invitation. The sands of Egypt have yielded their treasure, but the true secret remains elusive. The twin is not a puzzle to be solved, but a mystery to be lived. The teachings of Thomas invite us to go beyond belief, beyond ritual, beyond the boundaries of tradition, and to embark on the greatest journey of all, the journey inward to the heart of the self. And so the story ends where it began, with a question, a whisper, a possibility. The hidden twin is not lost, not dead, not forgotten. The twin waits, in the silence, in the longing, in the spark of the divine that flickers within every soul. What if the greatest secret of Christianity is not about a hidden brother, but about the hidden twin within each of us? What if the story of Jesus and Thomas is not a tale of the past, but a map for the future, a guide to awakening, to unity, to the realization that we are at our deepest level, kin to the divine? The journey of the twin is not over. It is only beginning, and the next step is yours to take. Perhaps in some quiet moment, you will hear the whisper of the twin. Perhaps in the depths of your own seeking, you will find the kingdom that is both inside you and outside you. The mystery endures, and the invitation remains. Will you answer the call?